Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. It was announced earlier today that MVP has gone ahead and signed Cruz, unbeaten in 11 professional starts, campaigning in the super flyweight division, a fighter that we've covered a good number of times here on the channel in the last 2 to 3 years, campaigning in the women's super flyweight division. A good signing. Sporting a professional record of 11 wins with no losses and no draws, 1 recorded knockout, a Philly Rican, as opposed to the customary New Yorican you always hear about. They've got Puerto Ricans in Philadelphia as well. Cruz is one among them, having sat out the last few months recovering from an injury she suffered in her last fight. I believe it was a torn Achilles tendon, but the previous year was not a complete wash for her because she fought in January and fought in June, and this year just got started, so there's plenty of time to get her back out there. I think by now the injury would have healed because it's been 6 months from her last outing. In 2024, she fought 3 times. In 2025, she fought 2. Now, there's plenty of time in this one to get her back out there. And she's a firecracker. Sparkling personality, easy on the eyes, and very enjoyable to watch under the hot lights. She has an axe to grind with the reigning WBA champion Jasmine Artiga, who was allowed by the WBA to skip ahead of her in the ranks and challenge for the title that she now holds. Cruz has taken that personal. And it just so happens that Jasmine is with MVP like Cruz is now with MVP. So it is a fight they can put together, though before they do it, they're gonna have to get 1 or 2 tune-up fights, 2 preferably. So I would do it to ensure that she's fully recovered from the injury, she gets some momentum going, and so that when she fights for the title, she's not just ready to fight for it, she's ready to win it. I happen to think Cruz is a more marketable fighter than Jasmine Artiga. Though, of course, such a plan of action would be contingent upon how many shows MVP plans on doing in the not-so-distant future. That if you can get Liana on the prelim cards of some of the shows you're going to do, 1 or 2 fights, that would be ideal. The end game here has to be making that fight between Liana and Jasmine. That's what I think it's all for. That's what I think it's all about. And this was not the only signing. They picked up about 6 other girls. Tiara Brown, reigning WBC featherweight champion, was one among them. 20-0 with 11 KOs. Fighting out of Fort Myers, Florida. Former police officer turned WBC champion, now with MVP, who we all know have been advocating for 3-minute rounds in a women's boxing match, where the World Boxing Council is still standing on their square that they will sanction no such thing. I do not expect Tiara to make the same move that Chantel Cameron and Alicia Baumgartner just made, dropping their WBC titles. I don't think Tiara's going to do that. Tiara's been around for a long time, and it took a long time to get to this point to win that alphabet title that I don't think she would part with it so easily. Last in action in September of last year opposite the ring, Emma Gongora, who she decisioned over 10 rounds. Before that, she beat Sky Nicholson. For the WBC title, beat Calista Salgado. In spite of having not been with a major promotional outfit, Tiara has been able to keep a good, steady schedule of fights. She fought 2 times in 2024, 3 times in 2025. She used to fight under the OTX banner, but I've been told that OTX has since closed their doors and gone out of business. Greener pastures for the reigning WBC featherweight champion. She's now with MVP. On to bigger and better things. What's the plan? I don't think it's an Amanda Serrano fight, even though they're both champions at the same weight. Amanda Serrano holds 2 alphabet titles and Tiara's got 1. Nina Menka of Germany has the other. And I would sooner expect them to get Tiara the Menka fight than a Serrano fight, because Tiara and Amanda are actually close friends. More than once I've seen them exchange pleasantries on social media, always gracious and respectful to each other, that I don't get the sense they make Brown versus Serrano. Maybe it'll be Brown versus Menka, or Brown versus Scotney. Should Ellie Scotney beat Mayeli Flores, become undisputed, then move up in weight, Tiara Brown is right there. They can do that now that Tiara's in good hands, as MVP has fast become the flagship promoter for women boxers all around the world that has working relationships with both DAZN and Netflix. I'm sure that they will find Tiara something to do and someone to fight. These are good signings, and we'll be covering the rest of them in another video. Now on to a story that I've been waiting to talk about that broke late yesterday. Gervonta Davis arrested in Florida on charges of false imprisonment and attempted kidnapping. They finally found the Baltimore Butterball. Gervonta Davis has been arrested in Florida less than 2 weeks after Miami Gardens police issued an arrest warrant for him on counts of battery, false imprisonment, and attempted kidnapping. Davis, 31, was tracked down to the Miami Design District following a surveillance operation that spanned 3 counties and was taken into custody without incident as he left a retail store. I was beginning to wonder whether or not they were really looking for this guy. 1-2 weeks pass. Now Gervonta Davis will be transported to Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Facility in Miami, Miami Gardens police say. Davis will likely soon enter a plea to a Miami-Dade County judge and learn more about his legal calendar. Richard Wolf, the attorney for the woman suing Davis over the treatment alleged in documents supporting the arrest warrant, told Boxing Scene Wednesday that we look forward to service and starting the process towards civil action and prosecuting our civil case for damages. Documents reviewed by Boxing Scene earlier this month revealed Davis is facing counts for his alleged October 27th abuse of the woman, physically injuring and threatening her after entering her workplace at around 4:15 a.m. During this time, he was already committed to a Jake Paul fight that would have paid him an estimated $40 million if he would have just stayed home and kept his hands to himself. Stupid criminals. Gervonta Davis is no master jewel thief. The circumstances of his arrest on Wednesday, January 28, 2026, detectives with Miami Gardens Police Department's Special Investigations Section, along with the United States Marshals Fugitive Task Force, conducted a surveillance operation that spanned over 3 counties and led them to the Miami Design District. You're telling me there's a warrant out for this guy's arrest, and there has been for the past 2 weeks, and what he's doing is going for some shop therapy? Stupid criminals. Detectives observed Mr. Davis exiting a retail establishment and took him into custody without incident. Stupid criminals. So all they had to do to find him was scope out the fashion district, because they knew the Butterball, even when he's on the lam, can't do without a new skirt or blouse or his favorite shade of lipstick. You really can't make this stuff up, can you? You're supposed to be keeping a low profile. You're a fucking fugitive. Stupid criminals. I believe that he can't get out of this without doing some kind of time, because at the time that all of this happened, he was already serving 3 years probation. This would constitute a violation of that probation in tandem with what other charges are associated with this incident, effectively ending his boxing career for the foreseeable future. Over the years, a good number of content creators have been able to make a good bit of money by galvanizing his supporters, his fans. Their channels are basically dedicated to all things Gervonta Davis. They are less concerned with international boxing and boxing as a whole, and more concerned with siphoning dollars from his supporters by pandering, catering to that very niche audience that now likely won't stick around. Not if they don't have Gervonta Davis to support. They don't like this sport that much. They don't now turn into Keyshawn Davis fans or Shakur Stevenson fans, Haney fans. They're gonna leave. And Gervonta Davis himself, his goose is cooked. I don't imagine that he's going to have to do all that much time, because I've been telling you, it's not a RICO case and it's not a homicide case. It's not capital murder, but he'll get enough time that his time is up. Though we as boxing fans, true boxing fans, aren't losing anything.
Gervonta Davis, even if nothing happened, would have never fought Shakur Stevenson, would have never fought Keyshawn Davis or who, okay, he went up in weight, but Raymond Murataya, let's say, or he wasn't even gonna fight the freaking Zepeda. Even if he didn't have fight, even that fight was a fight where he probably could have won, but he didn't want that smoke. So it was, I don't know. It's for me, it's we're really grasping at straws here. Well, all this waste of talent, unbelievable where he could have gone. I don't see it.
I don't consider Gervonta Davis a waste of talent because I don't think he was talented. I think he was a media creation spawned by Floyd Mayweather at a time where Floyd could have launched almost anybody's boxing career by vouching for them the way he vouched for him. Talented fighters don't need that much protection. Talented fighters don't have to go about their careers the way that he went about his. So if that's true, then why did a sizable portion of the boxing community get behind this media creation if it was so obvious he wasn't genuine? Because that wasn't the boxing community. That was the love and hip-hop community. They gravitated towards him because of where he was from and how he looks, draped in ugly tattoos, so many of them, you can't actually make out what doodles are drawn on his body. It's just a bunch of mess. None of it meaning anything. Some portion of the boxing fans gravitated towards him because Floyd Mayweather gave him his seal of approval, but the rest of those folks, those weren't real boxing fans.
Those were homosexuals.
Just wanted Gervonta Davis to stick his love pickle in their ass. Can't be a waste of talent if you don't actually have any talent. And the amount of effort that had gone into protecting Gervonta Davis from the rest of the divisions where he's campaigned, that's what tells the story. Talented fighters don't need that. Truly talented fighters don't need that much bubble wrap. Every boxing career, even the most distinguished ones, have a little bit of angling, where Gervonta's was all angling at all times. There was nothing real about this guy. Not even his pay-per-view sales. I mean, you've got people dancing in the streets that he does 225 with this guy, a 250 with that guy. Numbers that were exaggerated. Numbers that were fudged. That you even have to fudge his numbers to 225 or 250. Those numbers, in and of themselves, even if they were real, ain't nothing to write home about. Not the earmark of a bona fide star, of a true pay-per-view attraction, because if he were, he would have did a lot better than that. He was on pay-per-view 7 or 8 times, and he only ever did real numbers once. That was with Ryan. Let's pretend Ryan didn't have something to do with that. I've seen a lot of media creations
In my day.
over the years, souped up hype jobs that are not as good as advertised, but Gervonta Davis, I think, takes the cake, because his career, it didn't amount to anything. So obviously, one of the most protected, simultaneously the most cowardly. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. So maybe he goes in, does 3 to 5 years, which is not that long a sentence when you think about it. He'd get out in his mid to late 30s. With plenty of time to punch somebody's grandmother in the face. Go right back in. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Gervonta Davis is not a fighter. Gervonta Davis is not a boxer. He's not actually part of the world of boxing. He's a known character in it, but that's what he is, a character. A caricature of a boxer. Too stupid for his own fucking good, because in spite of all of this, he just squandered an opportunity to make $40 million from the sport and walk away. How fucking stupid do you have to be? Stupid are you? Throw away your freedom over some fucking broad that doesn't want you. There's plenty of other broads just like her in Miami Beach that you shouldn't lose your livelihood over this, but stupid is as stupid does. This motherfucker's stupid. So, good riddance to bad rubbish. Now over to the actual boxing involving the actual boxers. Tickets are now officially sold out for this Saturday's fight between Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson at MSG, making this a much more successful endeavor in New York for Turki El Sheikh than the Times Square show was. Oddly enough, not everyone is celebrating. Veteran content creator Sean Zattel said, "Good for Teofimo and Shakur. The truth is, Top Rank built these two, with multiple primetime slots on ESPN. Turkey didn't build this fight. Top Rank didn't lose to some open market competitor. They lost to a Saudi government not concerned with losing millions." Yeah, that's bullshit. Because Top Rank didn't lose Shakur Stevenson to Turki El Sheikh. Shakur and Top Rank's problems predate Turkey's entry into the sport. The same applies to Teofimo Lopez, a malcontent who's openly taken shots at Top Rank. What also predates Turkey's entry into the sport, you can't say that Top Rank lost this fight to Turki El Sheikh because Top Rank had no plans of making it. Stevenson versus Lopez was not a conversation when they were both at Top Rank. It was not a thing. Sean continued, yes, Top Rank didn't optimize their 7 years on ESPN, didn't make big fights often enough. Heyman overpaid fighters and inflated the market, as did Hernan Blavatnik. Oscar is oftentimes a mess, and just got his LA building foreclosed. But what I just posted is the truth. Not really, Sean. This fight wasn't on the table when they were both at Top Rank, Shakur and Teofimo, and the money that it would have took to get these two in the ring with each other, Top Rank wasn't going to kick that out. You know that. So that if a generous benefactor steps in and puts it all together where boxing by itself could not, why not just be grateful? A Twitter user named Inevitable D-Block responding to Sean said, "Next time, don't be crying over not being able to get in Turkey LL Sheik's events. I hope you're seeing this fucked up haircut talking shit. Don't give him a free pass." Many such comments in the comments section of Sean Zettel's post, people highlighting that he's putting a negative spin on this. And why?
For what?
Responding to them, Sean said, "There is this thing in the United States of America called freedom of the press. Just as an FYI, that's why movie reviewers call certain movies shitty, food reviewers the same, etc. Certain credentialed White House press don't like the sitting president at a given time. It is true. Sean is entitled to his opinion as a member of the press, but Turkey is entitled to deny him press credentials to events that he puts together, and not just Turkey, Dana White also." I just don't understand what there is to gain from driving a wedge between yourself and these players in the industry, because that's what they are now, whether you like it or not. Whether you like them or not, when you make a conscious effort to ruffle Dana White's feathers with what can only be described as ambush journalism. This guy's thinking you're going to ask him about the Canelo versus Crawford fight. You instead make light of what lawsuits are being levied against him. What did you accomplish in doing so? Because for all of your pearl clutching, fighters are signing to Zuffa Boxing in droves. Was it your intention to make Dana White look bad? Because if it was, you didn't make him look bad enough to Robert Garcia, who's funneling fighters over there as we speak. And not just Robert Garcia, Tom Loeffler, TGB Promotions. Didn't Jay Prince just take Edwin De Los Santos over there? In spite of some dragging Dana White's name in the mud to sully his reputation, now that he's in boxing, the people in boxing are still working with him. So what did you accomplish? Driving a wedge between yourself and Dana White. What do you accomplish? Driving a wedge between yourself and Turkey LL Sheik. You hear that his event is a success, you hear that all the tickets have sold out, and the most you have to say about it is, well, he didn't build these fighters anyway. No, he didn't, but he did put together this event, this fight, that would not have come together on its own unless he got involved. And the least you can do is say, hey, great, thanks. Looking forward to it. What does it profit you to put a negative spin on all of this and drive a wedge between yourself and boxing's premier power broker? I'm not even advocating that you like the guy or build him a shrine, but you have to acknowledge that if not for Turkey, we as boxing fans and content creators wouldn't have that much to talk about right now, because the established game in town are in a bad way. There's a changing of the guard, a shift in the axis of power that was a long time coming, and it wasn't even sparked by Turkey LL Sheik. Showtime didn't leave boxing because of him. That decision was made long before he came into it. ESPN, it's more or less the same deal. The most that we can do is be thankful that this guy put together a major fight so that we can watch it.